Dear brothers and sisters, this morning could be the turning point of your life. Many of us pray Fajr only to fall back into sleep. But what if I told you that by doing so, we are losing blessings, Rizq, and even failing a hidden test from Allah? The Prophet A said, "Oh Allah, bless my ummah in their early mornings." Yet most of us are unaware of the secret treasures waiting for us right after Fajr. In this video, we will uncover the dangerous secret of sleeping after Fajr, how we lose Barakah, how Rizq is distributed in the morning, how neglecting Qur'an and Dhikr blocks our spiritual growth, and why this is truly a test of discipline and self-control. Stay with me till the end, because this one reminder might change your mornings forever. One of the most profound lessons in Islam is the concept of Barakah, a divine blessing that brings ease, abundance, and benefit in all aspects of life. The Prophet Muhammad late prayed, "Allah, bless my ummah in its early mornings." At-Tirmidhi. This hadith teaches us that there is something uniquely special about the hours right after Fajr. They are not just ordinary hours of the day, they are filled with opportunities, blessings, and divine mercy. But when a person chooses to sleep after Fajr without necessity, they risk losing these immense blessings that Allah has placed in the morning. The early morning is a time of freshness, stillness, and clarity. The mind is sharper, the heart is lighter, and distractions are minimal. For the believer, this is the perfect time to engage in Dhikr, Qur'an recitation, reflection, or even to plan the day with a clear mind. Those who take advantage of these hours often find that their entire day flows with ease, productivity, and inner peace. On the other hand, those who neglect this time by falling into the habit of post-Fajr sleep often complain of sluggishness, wasted time, and a lack of motivation. Barakah is not something visible. It is not measured in numbers or time, but in how much goodness Allah places in what we do. For example, two people may both work for 2 hours. One comes out with great success and achievements, while the other sees no results despite equal effort. The difference is Barakah. Similarly, a student who revises after Fajr often finds knowledge sticking in the heart and mind more effectively. A worker who begins their day after Fajr may notice unexpected opportunities for success. Families who sit together for Qur'an or breakfast in these hours often find greater unity and love. All of these are examples of Barakah that cannot be replaced. When a person sleeps after Fajr, they are essentially turning away from this divine treasure. Instead of receiving blessings, they exchange them for a few more moments of rest. While sleep is not forbidden, consistently making it a habit deprives a person of spiritual, mental, and even material benefits. Many scholars have reminded us that laziness after Fajr can contribute to reduced Rizq, lack of focus in life, and even weakening of spiritual discipline. Moreover, this time has always been honored by the pious before us. The companions of the Prophet A and the righteous scholars would dedicate their mornings to knowledge, worship, or work. They understood that these hours shape the destiny of the day. That is why it is often said, the one who misses the morning has missed the day. In short, losing the blessings of early morning Barakah is one of the most dangerous secrets of sleeping after Fajr. It is a silent loss, one that many people do not realize until they see how much of their life feels empty or unproductive. The wise believer, therefore, should protect this time, even if only by staying awake for a while to engage in Dhikr, Qur'an, or useful activity. By doing so, one aligns with the Prophet's A prayer of Barakah, transforms ordinary mornings into extraordinary blessings. One of the great realities of life that Islam constantly reminds us of is that Allah is the provider of all sustenance. While we work, plan, and strive, it is ultimately Allah who determines what reaches us. Among the times He has chosen to bless with special distribution of Rizq is the early morning after Fajr. The Prophet Muhammad A made dua for his ummah, saying, "O Allah, bless my ummah in its early mornings." Tirmidhi. This highlights that the hours following Fajr are not ordinary. They are moments when blessings, provisions, and opportunities are spread by Allah. When a believer stays awake after Fajr, they position themselves in the flow of these blessings. The morning becomes a time to seek Allah's mercy through Dhikr, Qur'an, or dua, and also a time to begin worldly work with fresh energy. Historically, Muslims honored this Sunnah by making the early hours productive. Farmers would begin their work in the fields, traders would open their shops, and scholars would dedicate mornings to teaching or writing. They understood that Rizq is not just material wealth, it is also knowledge, good health, inner peace, and the ability to do righteous deeds. On the other hand, choosing to sleep immediately after Fajr can cut a person off from this divine opening. While rest is important, making post-Fajr sleep a habit often leads to laziness, missed opportunities, and a day filled with heaviness rather than blessing. It is as though one shuts the door on the Rizq Allah is distributing at that time. This is why scholars and pious predecessors discouraged unnecessary sleep after Fajr, warning that it can deprive one of Barakah in both worldly and spiritual affairs. Consider this. Many people wake up late, start their day sluggishly, and then complain about not having enough time, struggling financially, or lacking focus. Yet the Prophet I already revealed the secret that rizq is tied to the early morning. A believer who honors this time by being awake, active, and remembering Allah often sees the effects in their life. Success in business, ease in studies, improved relationships, and peace of mind, all of these are forms of rizq, and all are connected to Allah's blessing in the morning hours. Moreover, rizq is not just about earning more, it is also about barakah in what you already have. A person may have little, but Allah puts so much blessing in it that it is enough for them and brings happiness. Another may have abundance, but without barakah it feels empty and unsatisfying. By staying awake after Fajr, engaging in Dhikr, Qur'an, and even productive work, a person invites blessing into their sustenance and life. In short, the distribution of rizq after Fajr is one of the secrets many Muslims overlook. It is not just about money, it is about all forms of provision and blessing. Sleeping during these precious hours may seem harmless, but in reality, it can deprive one of the very blessings they are praying for. The wise believer, therefore, guards this time, seeking sustenance from the one who holds the treasures of the heavens and the earth. The time immediately after Fajr prayer is one of the most spiritually powerful moments of the day. The Prophet Muhammad encouraged believers to remain in remembrance of Allah after Fajr. Many companions would dedicate this time to Qur'an, Dhikr, and reflection until sunrise. These early hours are filled with tranquility when the world is still quiet, distractions are minimal, and the heart is most open to connecting with its Creator. Choosing to sleep at this time may seem like a small habit, but in reality represents a great loss, a missed chance for immense spiritual growth. Qur'an recited after Fajr has a unique weight and impact. Allah says, indeed, the recitation of the Qur'an at dawn is ever witnessed. So Surah Al-Isra 1778a. Scholars explain that the angels bear witness to the recitation of the Qur'an at this special time, making it especially blessed. When a believer spends time with the Qur'an after Fajr, it not only enlightens the heart but also sets the tone for the entire day. It brings clarity, strength, spiritual shield against the trials that may arise later. To neglect this by falling back into sleep is to turn away from a moment when the gates of Barakah and divine light are wide open. Similarly, engaging in Dhikr after Fajr carries immense rewards. Simple phrases such as Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, seeking forgiveness through Astaghfirullah elevate the soul and draw it closer to Allah. The Prophet mentioned that whoever remembers Allah until sunrise and then prays 2 units of prayer as the Ishraq, they will receive the reward of Hajj and Umrah, complete and perfect to mid-it. This shows how precious the post-Fajr period is for building spiritual capital. Missing out on Dhikr during these hours means missing out on opportunities that cannot be replicated later in the day. Moreover, these quiet moments strengthen the believer's relationship with Allah on a deeper level. In a world where hearts are constantly distracted by work, social media, and worldly concerns, the stillness after Fajr offers a rare chance to sit in reflection, gratitude, and supplication. It is in these moments that a believer can pour their heart out to Allah, seek guidance for the day ahead, and cultivate inner peace. Neglecting this spiritual practice by prioritizing extra sleep instead robs the soul of its nourishment, leaving it weaker to face the challenges of life. The spiritual growth gained after Fajr also extends beyond the individual. Families who spend this time together in Qur'an and Dhikr develop stronger bonds rooted in faith. Communities that begin their mornings with collective remembrance often find greater unity, purpose, and strength. But when individuals neglect these practices, society as a whole loses some of its spiritual vitality. In essence, neglecting spiritual growth through Qur'an and Dhikr after Fajr is one of the dangerous secrets hidden in the habit of morning sleep. It is not merely about missing an hour of worship. It is about losing an opportunity to anchor one's day, strengthen the soul, and gain closeness to Allah that lasts far beyond the morning. The wise believer recognizes that the sweetness of these hours is greater than the sweetness of sleep and chooses to rise with the Qur'an and Dhikr rather than fall back into heedlessness. Life as a believer is a series of tests, some visible, others subtle. One of the most underestimated yet impactful tests comes right after the Fajr prayer. The struggle between staying awake for worship and productivity or falling back into sleep. This moment reveals much about a person's discipline, priorities, and self-control. Failing this test often means losing the opportunity to harness the blessings of the early morning, as well as allowing one's desires to overpower one's spiritual commitments. Discipline in Islam is deeply tied to self-control. Allah says, "But as for he who feared standing before his Lord and restrained himself from evil desires, then indeed paradise will be his refuge." So Surah An-Naziyat 79 and 44, restraining oneself from the immediate comfort of sleep in order to engage in Qur'an Dhikr or seeking knowledge is a reflection of true taqwa, God consciousness. when a believer continuously fails this test, highlights a lack of discipline in managing desires and giving priority to the hereafter over temporary worldly ease. The early hours after Fajr were emphasized by the Prophet Muhammad as a time of blessing. He made dua, O Allah, bless my nation in their early mornings. So Tirmidhi. This supplication indicates that success, barakah, and rizq are tied to discipline in using the early part of the day wisely. Failing to do so by neglecting worship, Qur'an, or even productive work means willingly stepping away from the very blessings that the Prophet prayed for his ummah. It is not merely about losing an hour of the morning. It is about losing the foundation of barakah for the entire day. Self-control after Fajr is also symbolic of larger battles in life. If one cannot overcome the pull of extra sleep at a time when angels are witnessing Qur'an recitation and dhikr, how can one expect to overcome greater temptations throughout the day? Small tests like these build the inner strength needed for bigger challenges. Neglecting them creates a pattern of weakness where the nafs, self gains control and the heart becomes lazy toward obedience. The Prophet warned against succumbing to such laziness, saying that Shaitan ties 3 knots at the back of the head while one sleeps, whispering, "You have a long night, so sleep." But when a person wakes, remembers Allah and prays, the knots are untied. Failing this spiritual struggle means letting shaitan keep his hold. Moreover, failing the test of discipline after Fajr often has ripple effects. A believer who succumbs to sleep may later find it harder to focus on work, harder to maintain consistency in worship, harder to fight other temptations of the nafs. On the other hand, those who discipline themselves after Fajr often feel lighter, more energetic, and spiritually fulfilled throughout the day. In essence, the post-Fajr test is not simply about sleep. It is about who controls the heart and mind, the believer or the desires. Passing this test builds resilience, consistency, and closeness to Allah. Failing it repeatedly weakens the soul, distances one from barakah, and reflects a loss of spiritual discipline. The wise believer strives to rise above comfort and master the self. For true success lies in conquering the nafs, not surrendering to it.